You guys are the lucky ones today getting recorded. Welcome back. Welcome back. New year, new you, I hope, for some of us, right? New year, new you. So I just want you guys to kind of like think about your decisions over last year and most importantly, you know, the first and beginning of the second marking period, and kind of just think about, you know, what you could do better and what you could do to make things easier for you. And that's what I always think about. Like, what can I do to just make it easier for me? You know, I grew up in a really rough area in Philly, and I went to Washington High School in the Northeast. And although the area wasn't really bad, it was the surrounding people and kids going to the school from other areas like North Philly, West Philly, South Philly. But I'm like blessed to have gone there because I was able to meet different people, and it was so diverse, and I was able to learn from many different people. And one of the biggest things that I really learned was, how can I make life easier for myself? So what are the things that I can do? Because although, you know, you can think about your own lives and people that you know, life's not always easy, but there are different decisions that you guys could make and that we can make as individuals to make things easier for us. And those decisions come from you. They don't come from anybody else but yourself. And so that's my little parent spiel for the new year. So happy new year. I hope you guys you all had a safe little break, and welcome back. I know that I don't have you guys tomorrow. I know that I don't have you tomorrow because I see you every other day. However, there are a number of people that have still not taken the test. And I do know about 95% of you on the opposite day as me, you have a gym class. And as we know, gym class is asynchronous, which means for many of you, most of you, tomorrow during sixth period, you don't have anything. So if you did not take the test, you must join my Zoom tomorrow during the scheduled sixth period time. And we know the Wednesdays are different times. Okay. If you did take the test, please ignore what I'm about to put in the chat. So if you did take the test, don't worry what I'm putting in the chat. But if you did not take it yet, it is your responsibility using your Chromebook only to go on and enroll in this different code. So it is like kind of like a makeup code for GoGuardian for me to monitor your screens for any tests. And it's a different code to do that. Also, the Zoom link is now up on your Schoology page under updates. And I'm actually going to go and share my screen just in case we don't know what that is. Right here, if you go into updates here, and once it pops up, because it's super slow today for some reason, here it is. So anyone needing to make up a test will join Zoom with my B-Day classes on Wednesday the 6th, okay? Make sure that you joined that GoGuardian that I just put in the chat. And here is the information and the link. You can copy the link, and actually I should do that for you. If I just go here, edit this, boom, link, boom, save. So that this link right here should take you to the Zoom tomorrow, sixth period with my B-Day class if you did not take the test. If you have any questions, if you're confused, if you don't understand it, this video will be up later on. You can rewatch it. You can fast forward, rewind to understand, or you can message me on Schoology. I don't have any problems helping you out with any questions you have. But if you don't ask me questions, I'm going to have no idea that you're confused. Okay. I also want to note, you guys all know that Zoom class, right, every day with teachers is mandatory, right? It's not like a voluntary thing. You know, we went from asynchronous first marking period to synchronous, meaning Zoom class is your physical class if you're not in school. And so it is mandatory. You do have to come to class. And I will say that out of 100%, there's maybe 1%, maybe 2% of kids that could get away with not coming on live and still do well in class. And I'm not saying that as a dig. I'm saying that truthfully and honestly. Some kids feel like they don't need to come onto Zoom and they'll still do well. And that might be the case for some people. But what I've noticed, at least from my classes and many of the other adults and teachers that I've spoken to, 95 or even more % of kids who do not join Zoom are failing. And that's just the truth. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and I know some people are working or they're helping out family and they can't make it, or their house is, a mess and they have other people. And I get it, right? There's a lot of different things you can come up with. And I'm just thinking about myself when I was younger. There's a lot of different things and excuses that I could come up with, but yet I still worked my butt off to try and get to where I wanted to be. And it's all about your decision. That's what it comes down to. And if you need help, I'm here. So please, message me. I really, really, really do care. And I really want to be there to be able to help you. But I'm not going to be able to help you if I don't know what's going on, right? So today, what we're going to do, we are starting something new. We're starting the muscular system. We just finished the skeletal system. And how we're going to start this is similar to how we started the skeletal system. Okay. We are going to go over a certain amount. We're going to go over the 15 major muscles. So having said that, we're starting a new unit. We're going to be starting something new. One of the things to start thinking about while your teacher's talking is, okay, what exactly do I need to do? One of the things is get out your notes. Okay. Hopefully by now you have a notebook for my class. Get that out and you're just going to start fresh. All right. Put the date, put muscles, 15 major muscles, or the muscular system, or whatever you want to say to title it so that you know where to look for when you're taking a test or when you're filling out a future assignment or whatever the case may be. The notes that we're going to take today, not a lot. Literally, I'm going to tell you the correct term and name for the muscle and where it is. And you're going to write, okay, like for example, your shoulder muscle is called the deltoid. So you're literally going to write deltoid equals shoulder muscle, right? Let's say you know about muscles and you know that the name of the shoulder muscle is the deltoid. Do you have to write that down? No, these are your notes. But I would suggest, if you are not familiar with muscles and the muscular system, these notes that we're taking today are going to be a really, really great start and help you for future assignments and the test. And like I said in the past, all notes are fair game for the test. And this is really going to help you. I cannot stress that enough, right? And when a teacher repeats themselves multiple times, that usually means it's important. So if you don't have a notebook for me yet, don't worry about it. Just get a piece of paper that you're not going to lose. And let's get started. What we are going to start off with today is I'm going to share my screen here and I'm going to show you this diagram. Can anybody take a guess before we start on the 15 major muscles here? We did talk about bones and we talked about how there are 206 bones, right, in an adult human. So you will need to, I'm going to actually unshare because I can't see my chat for some reason. And I do know from yesterday's class and last period, people don't like to talk and answer questions. They like to chat and text. I don't get why, but so how many muscles do you guys think? And if you already know the answer, don't answer it. If you're already familiar with anatomy and physiology, just stay quiet just for a moment. I want to take guesses. How many muscles, if you had to guess, are in the human body? If you don't feel comfortable unmuting yourself, you can write it in the chat to everyone. How many muscles? Take a guess. 56. Okay? Guys, it's a new year, new you. Come on, come on. All right, here we go. Good. 400, 100, 500, 100. Okay. A lot. Great answer. 300, at least 2. Okay, that's very specific. Good. So yes, there are a ton. There are, ready? Over 600 muscles in an adult human. There are over 600 muscles in our body. So no, you will not be responsible for knowing all 600 because that's insane. But you will be responsible for knowing the major muscles and muscle groups. There are about 15 major muscles and muscle groups that we're going to talk about. And no, they are not all called text. I just wrote that there so it's easier for me to kind of type it in here. One of the important parts about writing this down is so that you know where I'm actually pointing at. And a lot of us think, oh, I'll remember that. Or yeah, it's pointing to the shoulder. Yeah, I can see that. I'll remember it. But let's just think about your past and like you say you're going to remember something and you think you truly feel that you will, and then you forget. And it happens to all of us. It happens to me all the time. If I didn't have my phone to write down things in my notes or alarms, I would forget everything. My memory is like the memory of like a 95-year-old, I swear. It's awful. So let's start here. This arrow is pointing to the shoulder, and I did mention it earlier. It's called the deltoid. The deltoid is the shoulder muscle, and some people call it the delts for short, and that's where it comes from, the deltoid. So again, piece of paper, I would just write, and don't worry about drawing this. We're not going to be drawing this or doing anything, maybe later on if we have time, but I highly doubt that. We're really just kind of focusing on being able to listen, see, and write. The more different parts of your brain that you're able to kind of engage, hearing something, seeing something, and also writing something actually really helps with retaining information and not just memorization, but over long term, being able to actually remember this for a longer period of time. All right, this next muscle is your chest muscle, the chest muscle. And if any of you guys are familiar, if you've gone to the gym and worked out any of the machines on there, or if you're just, conscious of being active, you might have heard pecs before, the pecs. And it comes from this word, the pectoralis major, which is the name of the chest muscle. Pectoralis major. I joked before with my classes yesterday, and I just don't get it. Like, so you guys don't talk in class, right? And you like to chat. Is that how you guys are also in like relationships too? Like, if any of you guys have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, do you guys like not talk to each other? Do you just text? I'm very curious. I can't see my chat right now, but I am curious to know that answer. So I'm kind of making a dig at you, like joking, but I am serious. I just don't get it. All right, this muscle, very popular muscle, right? Somebody says, oh, flex or make a muscle, and you go like this. It's that bulge that pops out here, or for some of you, maybe not at all, because you might need to work out a little bit. But that muscle here on the front of the upper arm is the biceps brachii. Many of us know it as just the biceps, but there is another word, the biceps brachii, also known as brachii, tomato, tomato. The biceps is the muscle on the front of the upper arm. Front of the upper arm. And here we got our six-pack abs right here, okay? Your six-pack abs, we all have our six-pack abs. We all have it. Some of us like to protect our six-pack abs with layers of fat, but we all have it. And though, sometimes we call it the abs, it's because it's called the rectus abdominis. The rectus abdominis is your abs. Pop over here on this side here. These muscles here on the side are kind of like your side abs in a way, your side abs. They're known as the obliques. The obliques. And being able to incorporate diet with toning your obliques will also help with kind of toning and removing some of the extra fat that kind of lay on the love handles that some people talk about that they don't like. And the obliques have a lot of like side to side movement and workouts to strengthen and tone the obliques along with dieting to kind of get rid of that. Now, I have been talking about muscles for years and years. I know this like the back of my hand. So if at any time, I'm going too fast or I said something that you missed that you want me to repeat, please just unmute yourself and just ask me a question. Ask me to repeat it. Okay, I have no problem doing that. Now, there are 4 muscles that are in the leg area, okay? 1, which is here on the outside part of the thigh and hip. 2, which is in the front. 3, which is in the inside of the thigh here, and then 4, which is in the back. And I just want to, guys, I want to have you guys keep this in mind that there are many people that confuse those 4, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and they kind of mix them up. So just pay attention and have the notes pretty detailed so that you understand exactly where these words are, so that later on you won't get confused and kind of mess up. This next one is pointing to the outside part of your hip or thigh. The outside part of the hip or thigh. And that's known as the abductors. The abductors. outside part of the hip or thigh. Switch over here to the inside part of the hip, of the thigh, sorry, not the hip, because the hip's on the outside. On the inside part of the thigh, those are the adductors. And if any of you guys have gone to the gym before and you've seen a machine, it's called the abductor and adductor machine. It literally has the name of the muscles in them because the movement, you actually move your legs out and in and out and in, which actually strengthens, depending on where the weight is pushing at, strengthens both of these muscles. There are muscles that work kind of opposite of each other. And that kind of sounds a little weird, and I don't really want to go any further into detail until later on, but I would kind of put a star somewhere in your notes and write that muscles, there are some muscles that work as opposites. They kind of work as opposite pairs in a way. They work as opposite pairs. And an example of them are the abductors and the adductors. They work as opposites. The adductors and the abductors, they work as opposites. And we will get into that later on. And there are some other muscles that do that too. And I'll kind of explain as we go. This muscle here is the muscles on the front of the thigh. So you can see a lot of different muscles here. There's a bunch of them, right? I'm going to group them all together. And they are all the muscles in the front of the thigh called the quadriceps. And you might have heard this word before, the quads for short. Quadriceps are all the muscles on the front of the thigh. And because I'm talking about quadriceps right now, why don't I just hop over here to talk about all the muscles on the back of the thigh? Hamstrings. Quadriceps are in the front, all the hamstring muscles are in the back. The hamstrings and the quadriceps work as opposites as well. Quadriceps in the front, hamstrings in the back. Pause here for a moment. Are there any questions? Again, unmute yourself and ask. Any questions? Anyone want me to repeat anything for you? Okay. Moving up here. This next one is a large muscle. It's a diamond-shaped muscle, if you can see that. And it's the huge muscle of the neck. If you ever see those people that work out and they're like this big and they have like the huge neck muscle here, that's this muscle. They call it the traps for short because it comes from this word, trapezius. Don't get that confused with trapezoid. I had students in the past write trapezoid. That's a shape, not a muscle. Trapezius is your neck muscle, the neck muscle. Moving on to this large muscle here in the back. This is your back muscle, lats for short because it comes from this term, latissimus dorsi or dorsi. I say dorsi. Latissimus dorsi, that is your back muscle. And your back muscle and your chest muscle work as opposites. Your pectoralis major, which is your chest, and your latissimus dorsi, which is your back, work as opposites. Okay, this next muscle is the back of your upper arm. And we talked about a muscle over here in the front of your upper arm. This muscle is in the back. Another pretty popular muscle that many people have heard of before, if I learned how to type. It's the triceps brachii. The triceps brachii are in the back of your upper arm. Somebody want to unmute themselves and let me know which muscle works as opposite with the triceps. Which muscle works as opposites with the triceps? Take a guess.
The biceps.
Yes, the biceps. Perfect. So the triceps brachii on the back of the upper arm and the biceps brachii on the front of the upper arm, they work together as opposites. They're opposites. And we haven't really talked about that yet. I'm kind of just telling you guys the muscles that work together or work as opposites. And later on, we will talk about that. Great answer. All right, this next one, it's your butt. There's no better way of saying that. It is your butt muscle. Glutes, some people call it the glutes because it comes from the term gluteus maximus. And that is the muscle of the butt. Two more. So these last two here, down here, one is pointing to the inside part, one is pointing to the outside part, if you can see. There are two muscles in your calf. I would write that down. There are two muscles in the calf. And if you actually, no one can see you right now, so you can try and do this. If you point your toe and flex and point and flex and point and flex, and as you do that, put your hand on your calf, you might feel something popping out on the inside part of your calf area. And if you're having trouble feeling it, if you stand up and you stand on your toes and come back down, stand on your toes and come back down, and you look down at your calf, on the inside part, you might see something moving. That, the inside part, and a lot of athletes have this, especially soccer players, you'll see that huge, ball that comes out there from just having that muscle strengthened from the sport that they play. And this is probably the craziest term. Are you guys ready for it? Gastrocnemius. 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 That's how you say that. And that's like the inside part of the calf and what you feel that kind of pops up when you point your toes and flex. And then the other part of the calf, the other muscle in the calf, there's two of them, is the soleus muscle. So there you have it. Okay, the 15 major muscles here. Does anyone want me to explain one? Did you miss anything? Do you have any questions? So, some of you guys answered in the chat. I couldn't see it. All right, so what we are going to do today is very similar to what we did in the beginning of the skeletal system. And I like to keep things kind of, consistent so that you guys kind of get the hang of like how I teach in my classes. I'm going to publish an assignment. I did not do it yet. The reason being is because sometimes when I do that early, people stop paying attention and I lose you guys. So I just want you guys to listen. I'm going to publish an assignment. The assignment that you open, you will see a diagram of muscles, and then you're going to see words on the side. This is very similar to when we did the skeletal system. Your job is to use your notes to drag the words to the correct location. But I will say, and this is very important, the reason why I said earlier not to worry about the picture or don't draw it or anything, because the assignment that I'm going to publish, the arrows, not all of them, but some of the arrows are not exactly the same as the one that we just went over. So you really need to look at your notes to make sure that you have it in the correct location. Otherwise, you're going to get stuff wrong, which is why I always said notes are extremely important. And it's going to be a really good, not only study guide for a test, but help you in today's assignment and future assignments as well. So again, I'm going to publish this assignment. I'm about to do it right now. Use your notes, and you can also kind of challenge yourself and maybe don't use your notes at first and see what you remember, and then before submitting it, kind of go back to your notes and see what you got wrong or right and fix it up. It's a really good way of studying and kind of reviewing and seeing what you know based on what you learned today. When you finish, you are going to submit your assignment and then write in the chat that you're done. You don't have to wait for me to answer, and then you can go. That's what we're doing today. So complete your assignment using your notes, dragging the words over to the correct location. submit your assignment and then write in the chat that you've completed it, that you're done, and then you are able to leave early. Are there any questions?